Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back again. Well, we're going to talk to you today about a little modification that works great on a few of the different mini helicopters out there. The one in question today is actually our GT Mini by Skyline RC Toys. Now this is actually a copy of the SEMA 107, or it could be vice versa. Who knows? These things are all made in China. Now this is the model from Skyline RC Toys that comes with light control to be able to turn the lights on and off, as well as speed control, so you get a speed burst. Now this machine actually runs a lot faster speed wise than even the SEMA 107 does, which I don't know why. Basically they're the same machine, right? But what I've done here is I've changed my blades. Now the blades that come with the GT Mini are these black ones here, and they actually look really cool on the heli. But I think the white and blue looks a lot nicer. But one thing I found when I changed over to these different blades was these were actually slightly thinner, a lot more flexible, which also with the thinness is also a lot more lighter. So it doesn't take as much power to get these things to spin up and get the helicopter off the ground. They work amazing. So I've increased my flight time realistically by about an extra probably 2 to 3 minutes easy by having these lighter, thinner blades on here, which also take hits a lot better because they're a lot more flexible than the ones that came with the Skyline GT Mini. Okay, these are much thicker. They're also not as flexible, okay, because they're thicker. And because they're thicker, they're also going to be heavier. So the engines have to work harder to produce the same amount to get it off the ground, where you're using less throttle with these thinner blades to get it off the ground. So you're getting a benefit all the way around. Plus you're getting more speed out of the helicopter for forward and reverse, which I've noticed a great increase in speed by changing over to these blades. It's a night and day difference. It's just crazy. Now the thing is, where did I get these blades from? Well, from this helicopter. This is a Sky Rover series by Audley. I actually have a video up about this one. This one's actually not very fast, and part of the reason is it's got a very small tail rotor motor in the back, so the RPMs just don't really kick up that much on this one, whereas if you look at the GT Mini, it's got a much more robust motor, and it's also at a higher RPM rate too. And they both use the same exact back tail rotor blade too, which is quite interesting. Now the SEMA S107 and this one and the GT Mini, they're technically all the exact same helicopter, with the exception of, in this case, how the canopy mounts on this one, and the canopy is different for sure. The canopy on the GT Mini is virtually identical to the SEMA S107, and so they're basically a twin helicopter to each other. So when it comes to parts access, I mean, even SEMA has parts for pretty much all their helis. You could actually put a set of SEMA blades onto the GT Mini. I would imagine you'd be able to. I haven't personally tried it, but I'm sure they would be the same. And being if that is the case, those blades are actually a little lighter than what comes on the GT Mini. That's one thing I noticed, because I actually did some work on a friend's S107 for them, and they are actually thinner and lighter than these, so you could actually order the SEMA S107 blades. But for the Audley, because there's very few parts access at all for Audley stuff, if you can't get any rotor blades, but I think you can get at least rotor blades for these things, but I would order a bunch of packs of rotor blades for this one. Now these things, you can buy these at the source, and I'm sure there's other places around, different countries. I'm from Canada, so I've got a few choices where I can go for parts. But these are my preferred blade because they're so thin and light. Because I was really impressed with this one because of the flight time was just phenomenal, right? And my flight time wasn't so good on the GT Mini. But since I switched over to these blades, I'm finding, hey, I'm flying longer. Hey, I don't have to give it as much throttle to not only keep it hovering properly, but also, you know, to get it into the air, I don't have to hardly touch the throttle. So I'm very, very impressed with the blades that came with the Audley. And so my next experiment obviously is going to be to get a set of SEMA blades and try those out. And if they are exactly the same results, well, then I'll just order a whack load of SEMA blades too, because I like the color differences, and changing them up a little bit. And I plan on getting an actual SEMA S107. You know, price wise, I mean, this was an expensive one, and the SEMAs are a lot cheaper, but I want a SEMA anyways. And then I'll alternate blades around between them, and I'll even try the Audley blades on the SEMA and see if there's any difference, and so on. But just night and day here. This thing flies a heck of a lot faster, a lot less throttle to need to keep it up in the air, to get it up in the air. Longer flight time as a result too. When it comes to crashes, I mean, I don't crash this thing hardly anymore, but I do get the odd one, and when I do, I mean, these blades take a lot better hit than what the black ones do, and that came with it, because these black ones, like I said, they're pretty thick, and you know, they're just not, they're more, they'll shatter before anything else, because I've actually broken chunks out of these things on a hit, where these ones here, I've crashed these ones on this helicopter a few times, and no damage resulting. So it's actually saving the helicopter, it's saving on my gear train, you know, etc., etc., etc. So big benefits all the way around. So if you're looking for a way to gain a little bit more flight time on your heli, even if it's a larger scale heli, try lighter, thinner blades. You know, it's worth the tryout to see how it reacts and what it does for you. So anyways, that's about it, and you know, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.